Well, good morning and welcome to the Alliance for Better Nonprofits 2021 Nonprofit Tech Expo. My name, for those who I haven't met, is Jerry Askew, and I'm the president of ABN. I'll be your host today for today's expo, and I'll be joined both on camera and behind the scenes by our ABN team, and I'd like to introduce them to you now. First is Tiffany Minch, who serves as our Director of Education and Outreach. Jasmine Harper, our Operations Manager. There's Jasmine. Elle Benson, our Director of Capacity Building. There's Elle. And Chase Whitmire, our Director of Membership Development. Hi, Chase. The team has been working for months to make this event possible, and we all hope you enjoy the experience today as much as we've enjoyed putting it together for you. In case you're unfamiliar with the Alliance for Better Nonprofits, we're a membership-based 501c3, and our mission is to support East Tennessee nonprofits through education and training, consulting services, relationship building opportunities, access to resources, and support for collective impact initiatives. Today's program wouldn't be possible without the support of our wonderful presenters. This year, those include our platinum presenter, iostudio, our gold presenter, Virtuous, our silver presenters, Abacus Hive, Allevia Technology, Social Solutions, and ThankView, and our bronze presenters, Rustic Roots Creative and Sprintbase. You'll hear from each of these companies throughout the morning. And in the meantime, I hope you will take a moment to thank them in the chat. Today will be filled with information about some of the latest technologies available to assist you in accomplishing your nonprofit missions. Throughout the program, we will stream pre-recorded video presentations by our speakers, and in a couple of cases, the presentations will be followed by live Q&A sessions. If you need to step away for a moment, know that the next 2 hours will be recorded and will be available to you following the expo. Before we go on, let's take care of a little housekeeping. First, in the chat, we are providing information about who to email or call if you experience technical difficulties at any time during the morning. Our operations manager, Jasmine Harper, stands ready to help. Next, we encourage you to take a moment right now to click into your Zoom window and rename yourself with your name and organization so that we'll all know who's with us here today. And finally, we're joined and will be joined throughout the morning by over 90 different nonprofits throughout Tennessee, working together to make the communities we serve stronger. We hope you will take an opportunity to introduce yourself to someone new and engage, network, and share while learning together. In fact, why don't you take a moment right now to introduce yourself in the chat by typing in your name, title, organization, and a little about your nonprofit mission. We'll pause for a moment and let everybody type that in. All right, thanks for those who've completed that, and look forward to seeing from everyone. The chat will be a great outlet to share throughout the morning, and we encourage you to ask questions, share tips, and tell us what resonates with you throughout the process. Now on to our first session of the day. iostudio is an award-winning marketing solutions agency serving businesses, nonprofits, and government agencies who drive positive change in the world. Based in Nashville, Tennessee, iostudio helps clients connect with their audience through thoughtful business strategy, meaningful communications and engagement initiatives, and innovative digital foundations. Enjoy the following presentation from our platinum presenter, iostudio, followed by a Q&A.
Hello, I am Amanda Sapp, and I direct account services and strategic planning at iostudio. It's an honor to get to be here with you all today, and we're really honored to get to be the keynote speaker at this year's ABN Tech Expo. So thanks so much for having us. I'm going to present my screen. Just bear with me for 1 second. You know the drill. All right, we're really excited to get to be here today because we're going to talk about the idea of how you can start planning or thinking about moving your nonprofit beyond COVID or out of COVID. And I know that we're still in this sort of murky middle ground, but we're an optimistic bunch at iostudio, and we're all about planning for a bright future. So that's the lens through which we're viewing this presentation today. Let us introduce ourselves, just give you a quick overview of who we are and what we do. As I said, we are iostudio. We're a digital experience agency located in Nashville. We've been here for 20 years. We're currently at around 86 people, a whole slew of talented folks who are all driven by this idea of doing well by doing good. That's been the guiding principle at iostudio since it began. And it remains a guiding principle today. We're really focused on partnering with clients who are also purpose-driven and who are just committed to doing great work in the world that positively impacts, their employees, their customers, their volunteers, their community, and the world. Marketing is fun, but it's a lot of fun, when you're driven by a purpose. So that's where we're coming from. And here's what we do, just a really quick and very high-level overview. These are the services that we offer. We offer strategy, so brand planning, audience research, campaign planning. We have a whole design team. They can design everything from a website to an annual report. And we have a full-scale digital team as well. They design, build, and host websites, apps, digital experiences. And then we have an engagement group as well. And this engagement group is really what sets us apart from a lot of traditional agencies. Our engagement group focuses on recruitment marketing and customer care. So we even staff call centers and support call centers through our engagement group. And they're not listed on this slide, but we do have a full video production group as well. And we all utilize them across these 4 services. So that's what we do, but this is really the impact that we like to have when we partner with clients. It's one thing to do marketing. It's another thing to provide marketing services and solutions to clients that positively transform their organizations based on whatever their goals and objectives are. So, we're very focused on whatever our clients are trying to achieve from a business standpoint or an operational standpoint. We want our solutions to really empower that. A lot of times, our clients really just need help connecting with and maintaining long-term engagements with their audiences. So we play a lot in that space because that loyalty is really what's premium in this engagement economy that we're all in. Quick smattering of the clients that we've worked with in the past. We really specialize in the government, nonprofit, healthcare, and education spaces. So you can see a representation of that here, from the Army National Guard to Strongwell, which is a healthcare group in Nashville. I have a case study on them here in a little bit. To Second Harvest Food Bank, a great client that we were really proud to work with for a long time here in Middle Tennessee. But that's enough about us. Let's talk about these ideas for how you can start planning to really scale your organization beyond COVID. I did some quick research just to bring some relevant trends to this conversation today. What are some of the key challenges that you all are likely facing as leaders within your organization? And I summarize those across these 4 points. So we'll talk about them. But this idea of, how do you meet your audience where they are? How do you understand where they are and figure out how they want to engage with you? How can you maintain relevance in this very distracted, noisy world? We know that you can maintain relevance with clear, concise, consistent messaging. So we'll talk about that. We love this idea of doing more with less. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Chances are your organization has a lot of audience knowledge and insights lying around. You might even have some creative assets that already exist. You maybe just need to leverage and use them a little bit differently. And so we'll talk about, what that looks like. And then last, just the absolute importance of staying connected, particularly digitally, as that's still where we're primarily connecting in 2021 and possibly beyond. So when COVID hit, I think most businesses and organizations, really took a deep gasp, because where did their audiences go? How can they maintain engagement? The good news is audiences absolutely still exist. Organizations just need to find and meet them where they're at. Now, some of you might be saying, but I don't have the budget for research, or I don't know where my audience is at. The good news is you can do audience research in a really scrappy or grassroots manner, just leveraging the connections within your network as they may already exist. It doesn't have to be a heavy lift. 2 audiences that I brought forward are highlighted today that I think are really prime captive audiences for nonprofits are Zoomers. These are your digital natives who were born with phones in their hands. They're that one generation following the millennials. They see themselves as social activists, and they have all this time on their hands now because maybe their college courses have been disrupted or their high school courses have been disrupted. It seems like they're a really prime audiences for nonprofits to engage with. Whereas you have the millennials and Gen Xers who are over-indexed for probably having children at home. They need to figure out activities and organized experiences that are constructive that they can do with their kids. So they're really captive audiences for like volunteer sign up, and just whatever activities your organization might have a need to support. So just a couple quick nods to some prime audiences for nonprofits there. This case study that I'm going to talk about is a perfect example of how you don't have to invest in, extensive audience research or consumer research in order to get really, really actionable insights. We worked with this group called Strongwell. They're a healthcare group in Nashville. They work with women who become pregnant who are also substance dependent. The company that owned Strongwell, it wasn't named Strongwell at the time, but they said, hey, we need to create a brand that's going to resonate with these women. The objective was to meet these women where they were at, to help them stabilize their lives and connect them to resources in the community so that they could ensure the best possible health outcomes for their babies. Well, doing audience research with anyone who's substance dependent is relatively impossible. But what we found out within this organization is they had a network of peer advocates, women who themselves had been substance dependent in the past, but had overcome their addictions and achieved sobriety, who could empathize with where Strongwell's audience was coming from. So I just conducted some simple phone interviews with these women and got so much incredible direction and really rich insights out of these women because they want to help their audience. That's their job. We used those insights to develop this brand so that it lacked any stigma. It really recognized these women for how strong they were and celebrated them for how strong they are. And then we designed the brand and all subsequent brand messaging and outreach to just meet the women where they were at. So on this slide, you can see the evolution of the brand itself. On the left, we did a color palette. We did all the brand asset development and logo development, things like that, developed a brand book. We created a lot of social collateral to distribute on Facebook, which is where a lot of these women were at. And then we created a website for Strongwell, and then an app that was really easy to use and very accessible, so that once Strongwell became connected with these women, it was a really easy to use platform to keep them engaged. So really incredible client and great project there. So again, knowing your audience, where they're at, and then meeting them where they're at, it doesn't have to be a heavy lift. Point number 2, it's a noisy world. We're highly distracted as Americans. So how do you maintain relevance? How do you keep your audience's attention? The average US consumer has like an 8-second attention span. And we consume inputs across an average of 5 devices, sometimes all at once. You've probably already checked your email during this presentation. It's really hard to maintain relevance and to stand out in this noisy world. So messaging absolutely matters, especially in the digital space. As I mentioned, we've worked with Second Harvest Food Bank for a long time. The first campaign we ever did for them, and I think it was in 2012, so we got a big throwback here. It was so simple. The messaging was clear, concise, and consistent. And that's really the type of messaging, that was our messaging strategy that we deployed for this client throughout the years. The first campaign communicated that $1 equaled 4 meals, and we just called on people to donate now. In the bottom left of the screen, you can see an evolution of that campaign. This was a digital banner ad, $1 equals 8 meals, your gift will double, donate now. Clear, concise, and really consistent messaging that we deployed for this client over the years. Obviously, we evolved the campaigns. They got a little bit more intense with some of these other examples. They were, really straightforward and emotionally hard-hitting, but they were always very clear, concise, and that was consistent. And then, yes, we did ad campaigns. We did a lot of digital work for Second Harvest, but then we also did a lot of supporting marketing collateral, like their annual report, which you see on the right there. So that point was all about clear, consistent messaging. This idea is about being creative or getting creative and doing more with less, and really utilizing what you already have. Life's not getting easier. Our workplace has probably been disrupted. Your place has likely been disrupted. Whether or not you work at home, budget decreases or increases, that's a roller coaster everyone rides, always. A lot of nonprofits are enduring staff losses or have endured staff losses over the past year. So people are maxed. So we recognize that deploying a really high impact marketing or communications campaign or a fundraising campaign, it might carry its own learning curve. It presents its own challenge. But the good news is you probably already have a lot of the tools that you need to achieve something like a great campaign. It's just a matter of leveraging them and deploying them maybe a little bit strategically differently or in a new manner. We don't believe in reinventing the wheel. So a great example of this, Stonerise is a healthcare client of ours. They're out of West Virginia. They operate around 20 transitional care centers across West Virginia and southeastern Ohio. We had already done a lot of their brand messaging and logo design and development, and then COVID hit. So they had to go into crisis communications mode immediately. But the good news was they had really strong brand values. They had a really strong purpose-driven mission and brand story that they have a marketing team of 2. And those 2 women were able to leverage and deploy as they were doing crisis communications, so that the company never wavered from its mission. They never wavered from what they stand for. And they were just able to, to operationalize within this crisis in a pretty seamless manner as possible, so that they could provide clear, consistent communications to the family members and caregivers of the people who were in their facilities. In addition, we've built their website for them. So on the back end, we made it user-friendly for those 2 marketing specialists within StoneRise, so they could quickly go in and update the information that they were receiving on like a minute-by-minute basis, on a daily basis, and it wasn't a super cumbersome experience for them. So we really did full-scale marketing for them, from logo development to brand messaging development to website development. But they're still leveraging all of that content to this day. This example on the right is an ebook that they just launched a week or 2 ago. And it's just leveraging all of the collateral we'd already created for them. They're just telling this forward-looking story about how they are evolving beyond COVID. Last example, this idea of staying connected in this distanced and disconnected world. Interesting insight is that even before COVID hit, online fundraising was already a thing. It had increased by 10% in 2019. And the Ice Bucket Challenge, we've seen how nonprofits have been leaning into the digital space to engage and really crowdsource a lot of attention and even a lot of fundraising, at a broader scale than they're maybe able to achieve just with, in their localized communities. But it's been interesting to study during COVID, how nonprofits have been engaging online. I think at this point, we've probably all attended a remote live event. I could do a presentation just on what makes a really successful live event. Didn't bring that today, but we could, right? Virtual experiences have been really interesting to both sort of analyze and participate in. A lot of these nonprofits that used to do a lot of fundraising and engagement through like races or walks, they've taken them online, and to see the participation rates and the amount of funds raised through these online virtual experiences has been really inspiring, and just interesting to follow along and participate in. And then last, peer-to-peer fundraising, a la that Ice Bucket Challenge. This is an interesting example. This group does fundraising for childhood cancers, for childhood cancer research. And they have every year they would do a head shave competition or experience people who were representing children with cancer would shave their heads. Well, they just took that online and they invited people to Zoom in and show them cutting their own hair. So really interesting example there, on how they've leveraged the digital space to take their existing experiences and just bring them to more people. So last example, we partnered with Renewal House, which is a nonprofit in Nashville, to do a virtual live event and social campaign for their Thanksgiving live event, which is their primary fundraiser. So last November, we supported them with the actual event setup and hosting and IT support. But even prior to the event, we helped them with social collateral that promoted the event, as well as just content to drive awareness, participation via email marketing. And then they met their fundraising goals for that Thanksgiving event, which was just icing on the cake. And we learned a lot as well, because we all had to dive into that live event space, and learn the ins and outs of it, both from a production standpoint. Our video team participated. From a tech standpoint as well, our digital team did a lot of the IT support and development. So really interesting experience there. So just a quick high-level overview of the points that we ran through in this session. This idea of meeting your audience where they're at doesn't have to be a heavy lift. You can be really scrappy and do some grassroots research to get some great insights. This idea of maintaining relevance in this noisy world with clear, concise, and consistent messaging. This idea of doing more with less. Don't reinvent the wheel. Leverage your existing insights, the things you know about your audience, and maybe even your existing assets, and just repurpose them in a very strategic manner. And you can get a lot of ground out of that. And then last, just the importance of staying connected. We are a disconnected world, but we're also still human. So people are looking to connect with your nonprofit. So figure out where they're at and go be present in those channels. So that's all I have today. I'm going to open it up to some Q&A.
Well, hi, Amanda. It's nice to see you in person. Let me reintroduce you all to Amanda Sapp from iostudio. Now's the time for you to use the chat to ask Amanda any questions you might have. And I'll be trying to watch the chat at the same time that I'll be talking with Amanda. But Amanda, just to get started, I'd like for our audience to understand a little bit more about what the experience of working with IO is. You mentioned that y'all take a holistic approach. Tell us what that means when you work with a nonprofit.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. We always start with a little bit of discovery, which really just means getting absolute clarity as to what the nonprofit is trying to achieve. Whether it's fundraising or a live event, or they need to create awareness as to what their purpose and mission is in their community. We want to be hyper focused and crystal clear as to what they're trying to achieve, so that we're not playing a game of telephone. And everyone has shared expectations and a clear vision as to what the desired outcome is. And then we really plan to that. Whatever it is they're trying to achieve obviously informs what we go off and do. So we have a little bit of discovery. We always bring subject matter experts to the table to do a lot of listening. It's all about listening first and seeking to understand, a lot of Q&A, a lot of clarification. Then we put a plan together and work really closely with the nonprofit clients. I already talked about not reinventing the wheel. Let's say they want to do a live event. Well, maybe they already have their creative assets. Maybe they already have a really great email template to promote that live event. We work really closely in a partnership versus just going off in a silo and doing all the work and bringing it back. So we get in the trenches with our clients, and we need them to get in the trenches with us so that we can deliver the best possible outcomes. So that's a quick overview, a quick hint of what it's like to work with us.
Great. We got a question from Morgan, who says, "Hi, Amanda. Thank you so much for sharing today. Do you know how the stakeholders of a virtual event reacted in terms of what they expect for next year's fundraiser? How did the virtual fundraiser affect their expectations?"
Yeah. Oh, I love that question. Well, the good news is they came back. We are doing the same event for them next year. So that's a positive.
Yeah.
As I love the question of how did it affect their expectations? So we haven't started planning on that yet, but we know that things like gaining more interest and ensuring that people are consistently reminded that it's on their calendar prior to the event is something we really want to focus on this year. Explaining how people can participate, whether they want to actively engage in the live event or participate prior or after the event. Really the audience engagement is where we see the opportunity to elevate the performance and the overall experience. And that's kind of on the theme of meeting people where they're at, right? Sometimes people forget about the live events because we're all just kind of in our own weird little world. So we want to make sure that there are different avenues for people to participate, donating online, et cetera, before and after the event if they can attend. So that's just one example.
Yeah, I have to say, I've heard in my generation, I've heard really mixed reviews. Some people really hate the fact that they can't see their friends. These fundraisers are kind of social events. Others say, golly day, the opportunity not to have to get dressed up after work and be able to just attend an event virtually in my sweats is something that people enjoy. So I think we're going to have to be thinking about doing both. We have another question from Diat from Friends of Seven Islands. What social media places do you connect with Zoomers and Gen X? We currently only use Facebook and don't have any of these target audiences on our board.
It's a great question. And it makes me feel very old because Facebook, launched when I was in college, and that was the thing. And we all thought we were very cool. And now that this next generation is telling us it's not cool, it's just quite humbling. Gen X is obviously it's Gen X, the millennials, and your Zoomers. Gen X and then the older millennials, they are very active on Facebook and Instagram. They're in a lot of groups, community groups, neighborhood groups, or book groups. A lot of women are in book groups on Facebook. It's a little random, but it just popped into my head. So they're still locked on Facebook and Instagram, but your Zoomers, they're the squirrely birds who are always on the new up and coming, the TikToks of the world, which is a platform that it's hard to understand. And there's no direct advertising on TikTok, but brands are, creating a presence on TikTok. They do a lot of direct chat just to one another. So Zoomers are very selective as to when and where they choose to engage with a brand. But again, these are your social activists. So they're going to see a nonprofit as something completely different from a brand. So I think if you can have a presence on TikTok that shows the impact that you're making in their community or to an issue that they're really passionate about, that's going to be an interesting way to at least grab their attention and get them to maybe even share some of their content, or get them to participate with your organization and then promote that because they see themselves as these social activists. So you have that opportunity to capitalize on that and then get them to be, really an ambassador for your nonprofit.
Good. And Catherine over at the Center for Nonprofit Management, one of our partners, is agreeing with you. She says TikTok is blowing up for nonprofits.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. The cool thing about a lot of these, I remember back in the day, I think a lot of groups were really hesitant to participate in these spaces because we were shifting from a world of advertising where everything had to be really locked and really polished. But the TikTok channels, you can just go have fun on these channels and just be present in these channels. Everything doesn't have to be polished. You get to be a little bit more genuine and talk about your purpose, your mission, the impact you're making in your communities. And that authenticity, it pays off, it comes through. And that's what, especially your Zoomer and then younger millennial audience is really looking for.
Yeah.
It's so cheap to make. There you go. And right with your tips.
Charlie Lewis from Virtuous, who we'll hear from later on, says Clubhouse is another very great way to connect with people, and Catherine supports that, saying it's so cheap to make. So another opportunity, Clubhouse.
And another really quick point that I wanted to build on, Jerry, you were talking about this. And it's relevant to all of these social channels, but you were talking about our collective need and desire to be with our friends and our cohorts and these people who we really we love them. And, but then there's kind of that nice experience of getting to attend a live event in your sweatpants on bottom and a nice blouse on top, right? Gamification is actually something I've been studying that's really interesting, that does keep people engaged and does kind of trigger that experience of connectivity with your peers. And so that kidney example was an interesting, the National Kidney Walk, how they gamified and let people compete against one another is indicative of a trend I am seeing where nonprofits are just challenging, their stakeholders to compete against one another, whether it's, through fundraising or just participation. So I just wanted to mention the idea of gamification.
That's
Someone
great.
else said like TikTok can be fun, so just an opportunity and a trend there.
Right. Well, we have some very, very competitive people on the ABN staff, so maybe we'll look into gamification.
Absolutely.
So, Amanda, it's been delightful having you with us, and you're sharing such relevant information. So thanks for being here. In our chat, we've put the contact information for our viewers to contact iostudio, and we appreciate your support for today's event. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
And now we'll hear from ABN's Director of Capacity Building, Elle Benson, about how ABN can help you with all of your nonprofit's unique needs.
Hello, everyone. Did you know that ABN has over 45 consultants? We call them ABN experts who are eager to help you. There's not a project that's too small or too big, trust me. Along with our fantastic presenters today, our experts can assist you with lots of technology projects. Some include setting up your QuickBooks, developing dashboards, choosing and onboarding a new CRM system to track your donors, designing your program evaluation methods, executing your next virtual event, or even creating your next promotional video. I truly want to help. It's as simple as giving me a call. I'll get you connected. Connecting nonprofit needs with passionate people is my favorite part of my job, so I want to hear from you. I'm going to turn it back to Jerry so we can meet our next presenters.
Thanks, Elle. Now we're going to hear from 3 more of our presenters. First, you'll hear from and learn about Sprintbase. Created by seasoned design practitioners, Sprintbase helps your organization apply human-centered design with rigor, facilitate amazing remote workshops and projects, and demonstrate your impact with tangible outputs. Next, you'll hear from Rustic Roots Creative, a company that believes in the power of both nonprofits and storytelling. Rustic Roots Creative has worked with over 20 ABN members to help them propel their messages, tell their stories, and attract more supporters. Finally, you'll learn about Abacus Hive, a cloud-based, full-service accounting firm with impact in mind. The firm partners exclusively with nonprofit organizations, freeing their clients from their accounting burden and helping them connect the dots between numbers and operations. We appreciate all 3 of these wonderful presenters.
The world's most successful organizations know that innovation isn't just a buzzword, a box to tick, or a job to outsource. It's nothing less than your ability to respond to change, keep fresh, stay ahead, and galvanize teams to deliver your next wave of growth. But in today's world of overstretched resources and teams spread all over the globe, many of our old ways of working just aren't enough. Introducing Sprintbase, a new way of collaborating and innovating from anywhere that helps teams put design thinking to work and make a real impact with innovation. Beyond just providing beautiful, intuitive workspaces, Sprintbase actively guides your teams through a proven innovation process, all the way from insight to impact, giving them all the right tools and methods and built-in video guidance at every step of the process. Every journey begins with defining the challenge, and then helping your people connect deeply with customers to discover what they'll need tomorrow, not just what they're asking for today. Insight-inspired ideas are generated, captured, and prioritized, with rapid prototypes being created and shared with real users to get instant feedback, helping teams to accelerate their best ideas towards successful implementation. Sprintbase is already trusted by some great organizations who are using it to include more of their people and customers in the innovation process. With Sprintbase, teams learn fast, produce better outcomes, and build the lasting confidence that only comes from first-hand experience. And just think of what you'll save on airfare and sticky notes. Discover what your teams are really capable of.
Hey everybody, John here with Abacus Hive, and I am so glad to join you today for the ABN Tech Conference. I know you all didn't come here to hear about an accounting firm, but I'm hoping I can share a little bit of insight about what Abacus Hive is, why I think we're technology enabled, and then I did bring along some tidbits to share that are outside the accounting world, just because we work with some really awesome nonprofits, and I wanted to make sure you had those bits of information. So like I said, I am John with Abacus Hive. I am the principal and founder. But I also work with a wonderful and amazing team who is in Knoxville, Tennessee, Houston, and even across the world. Our goal is to provide really rock solid accounting services to nonprofits, and we call them our Nonprofit Hive. Why an accounting firm at a technology conference? Well, when I lead these conferences and do presentations like this, I normally start by saying, yes, we're an accounting firm. I'm a CPA. Some of our other team members are CPAs. But what we have deep inside of our passion and heart is technology. The technology and platforms that we use allow us to be unbelievably effective at what we do day in and day out. It allows us to be virtualized. So we can provide virtual accounting services without having to come into your office and sit there and crunch those numbers on the QuickBooks computer. We can be user-friendly. These technology platforms are really intuitive. They allow you to make decisions, categorize and code, and do certain things that we believe make the process much more efficient and much more enjoyable. I also understand that nonprofits are resource strapped at certain times. A lot of times we're trying to do the most with the least amount of resources that we have. So our goal is to use technology to automate some of the processes that maybe used to take up a lot more time and energy, and use that time savings to give back to you, and that cost savings to give back to you as an executive director or program manager at an organization, and actually saying, you go off and make your impact across the world with your time savings. We'll take care of the back office, and we'll do it cost effectively. So when I say that you're going to go be impactful, that's how I feel like we're allowing us to be impactful. If I can give you a few minutes of your time back, you can actually go and do something really amazing in your program and mission. And I'll tell you, the organizations that we work with day in and day out are doing some absolutely amazing things, and we're so proud of them. So how do we specifically help our nonprofit clients? A few different aspects. We do cloud-based bookkeeping. A lot of you all are familiar with the bookkeeping process, but we do it in the cloud. We make sure that the categorizations are accurate and that their financial statements are reported accurately and clear and consistent, so you and your board can make decisions effectively. Also, we help with digital bill payments. So gone are the days of tracking down that board member for that second signature, having somebody come into the office to sign checks, stuffing them in an envelope, and then mailing them out and hoping they get to their end recipient. We've digitized the entire process, and we're really proud of how that looks, even printing and mailing checks on your behalf. We help manage and process intuitive payroll. Payroll can be sometimes a little bit of a burden, and it's not the most transparent aspect of the finances of your organization, but we do our best to make it really user-friendly for your employees so they can track time and make PTO requests and also view their pay stubs. A lot of our organizations are audited, and we understand that that's normally a once-a-year pain point. We do our best to come in and serve as audit liaison or help you even get prepped up for your audit. We're former auditors inside of our firm, and we know the pain that comes with that sometimes, but it's a necessary aspect of running your organization, and we do our best to make that as painless as possible. And then lastly, we do consulting and advisory services. We'll provide coaching and advice on your financial standings, cash flow projections, budgeting, also just sometimes helping you pick out the best system that's going to be right for your organization. And here's a quote from you. John, I did not come to a tech conference to hear about accounting, and I know that you're right. So I brought along some tidbits of information of organizations that we work with that I believe are really tech savvy. And these are the free or low cost apps that I see them using day in and day out that I wanted to share with you. So first off, don't forget about your Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. I know a lot of you all are probably on these platforms, but if you're not, you can look into these. They're wonderful cloud-based options for managing your email, calendar, file storage, and productivity. If you are paying for these, please make sure you go out and either search Google Workspace for nonprofits or Microsoft 365 for nonprofits and make sure that you're getting the nonprofit discount accordingly. Also, we know that nonprofits are doing so much in a short amount of time. They're trying to track milestones and deadlines and key due dates. So we think Asana is a really great project management tool to track tasks and to-dos and collaborate with your team. And it's free for nonprofits, as well as sometimes you need real-time communications. That's where Slack comes in. You can chat with your team back and forth. You can set up different types of channels where you track the types of information that you're sharing. And it's got some really cool options to send just even a funny GIF every once in a while to your team to kind of keep them engaged and happy. And it's, again, free. Now, I couldn't get away from the fact that I am an accountant, and I did want to share two of the really great tools around the accounting and payroll world that we're really happy about. And we leverage with almost exclusively all of our clients. The reason that we support these tools is not because we have any kind of engagement or connection with them, other than we think that they're some of the best tools out there for what organizations need, and they're most cost effective. So Intuit QuickBooks Online, I know it's unfortunately got a bad rap for the last 3, 4, or 5 years, but it's really improved significantly, even to the extent where I recommend it heavily over desktop in QuickBooks Desktop. Making the switch from desktop to online is really effective. It's easy to do. And the price point for Intuit QuickBooks Online for nonprofits is actually $75 per year through the TechSoup, and I'll mention TechSoup a little bit later. The reason we like Intuit QuickBooks Online is it has many more dimensions than desktop does for your ability to track restricted grants, the spending associated with those grants, also the information related to functional expense, so how much are you spending on administration, fundraising, and program, and then tracking other aspects by using tags like how did my special event for the fall special event do? What was my total income? What was my total expenses? And you can run specific reports just on your individual special events. So if you're running a gala or a fun run or something like that, you can track those all within QuickBooks Online, inside the cloud, real-time access, always backed up and ready to be used at any one point in time. On payroll side, we love Gusto. We think it's user-friendly, it's intuitive, it's probably the most beautiful payroll platform based on the web that we have seen. It allows you to do some really awesome things like having your team track and request time off. You can track holidays and set those up and record your times for holiday time. You can also just do simple time tracking if you have hourly or salary-based employees who are paid hourly. You can do that all inside Gusto, but what's most exciting about Gusto is they've rolled out what's called the workforce costing module, which allows you to do time entries in relation to your grants. So now you can take time and your labor cost and allocate those to grants, and that's just really amazing. And then lastly, paying and managing your expenses is probably one of the most time-consuming areas that most nonprofits are involved in. I see so much time in and time out that tracking down approvals for paying those bills, getting signatures on the checks, printing and mailing those are some of the most time-consuming and just arduous processes that take up time away from the mission. Both of these platforms, Airbase and Melio, allow you to submit a bill into their platform via their upload portal or via email. It'll read the bill. It'll process the information from the bill, so it does a lot of the data entry for you. And then it'll help you route that bill for approval where most of your users can log on via an app. Say it's your treasurer who needs to approve all things over $5,000. Your treasurer can approve it, instantly goes up to the next person and the next person until all approvals are done. And then you or your finance director or administrator of your organization can actually go ahead and release those payments where both of these platforms will print and mail that check for you, send an ACH payment if it's digital. It'll send an email to that end user telling them that they're getting paid. And if you need to onboard them, as say a vendor, and you're trying to make a payment to a vendor, you all know this, getting W-9s is an absolute pain. So you can go and actually request vendors set up their own accounts and get W-9s. It's a really amazing process. What I'm really excited about with Airbase is that not only does it do bill payments, but it provides for physical cards. And you all know tracking down and keeping up with those receipts is really a pain in the rear. And what happens is when you swipe those cards, On your phone, you have an Airbase application. And on that Airbase application, it notifies you as soon as you swipe that card to please snap a picture of that receipt, categorize and code and provide some information for that expense. And that way, your accounting team doesn't have to come hunting you down to get that information 3 weeks later. So thank you so much for sitting here and listening to not only us share a little bit about accounting and how I believe that Abacus Hive is technology driven, but I hope that you got some information about some applications and tools that maybe you can go and research and look into. If you want to learn any more about these tools that I've presented, or maybe you just need some help crunching your numbers by a technology-driven accounting firm, hit us up. My information is below. It's abacushive.com or john@abacushive.com.
Well, hi. Next up, we're going to hear from ThankView, a fast-growing tech startup focused on making outreach more impactful through personalized video. Whether you want to create sincere solicitations, spice up event invites, or individually thank donors, the ThankView platform will allow you to design, record, send, and track 1 or 100,000 videos in minutes. In fact, many of you have received thank you videos from one of us here on the ABN team. We love the software and hope you will too. Welcome, ThankView. It appears I have made a mistake in the script. For all of you, we have a Rustic Roots presentation first, and then we'll get to ThankView. It's the problem with being old.
We believe in the power of nonprofits. We believe in the power of storytelling. We are built from the ground up to serve nonprofits. For years, the nonprofit industry has had trouble telling their story. Visual storytelling brings your mission moments to life. It shows the need, the impact of your organization, and celebrates your loyal donors.
Rustic Creative, we're dedicated to helping your organization flourish. We're a small group of mission-minded creatives looking to project your story to the right audience. Using engaging video content, we communicate and showcase your hard work so that you can focus on what's most important.
Jerry, just give me 1 minute.
I want you to know that one was all on me. I jumped the gun.
Hey there, my name is JD Beebe, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of ThankView. ThankView is the original personalized video platform trusted by thousands of universities, independent schools, nonprofits, and healthcare systems to create better relationships with their donors and constituents through the power of video. So in this short video, I'm going to show you exactly what ThankView can do for you and your organization, from collecting video content to be able to personalize videos that get sent out to 100,000 donors, and a whole lot more. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to show you with ThankView is it's really easy not only to create videos and send via email or text, and you can create those using your webcam or content you already have that you can upload, but even better is the ability to request video content from students, staff, or volunteers. Super easy. You can request it from specific people or create public requests that you can send out and then end up getting hundreds, if not thousands, of responses back. So here it's so simple. I create what my instructions are, and then that generates a page instantly that you can then take this, drop it in your social channel, drop it in an email campaign, and then the people you're looking to get videos back from, they can see the prompt, which is please introduce yourself and say what you're thankful for. And I can go ahead, record that, and that video immediately goes right back into your ThankView video library where you have unlimited storage. So that's how we can go ahead and collect video content. But let's talk about what ThankView is. ThankView, obviously the name, we really focus on gratitude and that stewardship angle of your outreach, but it's so much more than that. With ThankView, you can use it to create personalized appeals and solicitations. We have fundraising features built right into the platform, so you can raise more money through the power of personalized video. You can also use this for events, pre or post events, to be able to collect RSVPs, to collect survey information. You can also use this from updates from leadership, a great replacement for newsletters. And then there's automations with birthdays and anniversaries. Link this up to your CRM, and you can start to trigger workflows that happen when something happens in your database. It can happen with a response with a ThankView video. Another great thing that ThankView has over every other platform is how customizable and brandable it is. So when your ThankView arrives to their end user via text or email, you can have it come and arrive in these nice, beautiful branded envelopes with your logo, your colors, so it really feels like it's coming from you. Or maybe there's a familiar face you want to showcase. So put that as a GIF or a thumbnail, whatever you'd like. And now let's get to the heart and potatoes, the meat and potatoes of what makes ThankView so great. So here within the ThankView platform, it's so easy to personalize every single video for every donor, or I can group donors together. I can send everyone in a campaign the same video, or I can start getting tricky. You'll notice we have a few people named Jake. No need to be totally personal. I can select everyone named Jake. I can go select it, record the video. Hi, Jake. Thank you and only you for your gift. It means so much to us. Stay tuned for another little video and take care. So as you see, Jake is going to go, wow, that's so personal just to me. But Jake is none the wiser. Similarly, there's other information you can be pulling into ThankView, such as ask amount, their last donation, their gift designation, and you can also use that to segment your audience. So it makes it really easy to be able to personalize your videos to whatever degree that you'd like. Add to that you can start to sequence videos in. So personalize the first part and then follow it up with a video about your mission or a larger message from your team. Add overlays, easily add overlays to personalize the experience even further. And then mix in outros and intros. And you get an end product like this with no editing necessary. Might be hard to hear because it's in my headset. Hi, Jake. Thank you and only you for your gift. It means so much to us. Stay tuned for another little video. Take care.
A huge thank you from the rest of us.
Thank you. Nice little branding. So it really, truly is that simple. Now, finally, once you start sending your ThankViews out, you're going to want to know what impact is this having? Is this helping us retain more donors, create more value, and raise more funds? So that's where our metrics page comes into play. With ThankView, it's so easy to see exactly what's happening with your audience and how engaged they are. So one thing that we have that no other platform has is this idea of actionable metrics. So as you can see in here, we can see our open rates across all campaigns, click-through rate, that's great, but you can really start to dive into who's most engaged in your message through who starts, who finishes, who's clicking on your buttons, who's sharing, replying, even where they're watching their ThankView content. We can even break it down by the top cities or states or countries in which your ThankViews are being consumed. We can show the engagement rate. We can show what device they're looking on. And if you import birthday data, we can also show you the engagement by age group. So what's fantastic about the actual metrics is I can click into a metric like the people who finished all my videos. Maybe I then want to follow them up with another campaign. So I can easily go ahead, create a new list, and then have another video communication to this audience. Also, you want a little bit of a deeper dive into anyone in your database. You can quickly click on them and see all the engagements and interactions that you've had with them, as well as all the other information that is relevant to you and your team. So that's ThankView. If you'd like to learn more how we can help you and your team raise more funds, connect with more donors, and generally build better relationships, go ahead and click the button below, schedule some time to talk with our team. It takes 30 minutes, and we can get you up and running the same day. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Hey, we have loved using ThankView. I don't know if y'all have loved watching them as much as we have loved making them, but I wanted to just give a shout out to them as well. I wanted to take just a moment to refresh some of y'all who are on this call, may or may not have been on our website before. We've had a few new things that we've added on there over the course of this pandemic. So I wanted to just share my screen and show you briefly where some of the things live and some of the resources live on our website. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. For those of you who have been on here before and know a little bit more about ABN, we do about 70 trainings a year, and those live under this calendar right here. If you click on the calendar tab, you'll see all of our trainings that are coming up in chronological order. One neat little feature about this calendar is our drop-down feature here, where you can go by category of what you're looking for. So if you're looking for fund development trainings coming up, for example, you'll see all the fund development trainings that are coming up. You can also look for networking events. Similarly, you can look for free events. You get the idea there. And one of the silver linings for us in this pandemic has been the fact that we've moved all of our trainings to the Zoom platform. So we've been able to record and archive almost 70 trainings. So if you go to the calendar tab once again and click the on demand tab, you'll be able to see all of our archive trainings that we've done over the past year. You can search for things like what are our grant trainings that we've archived. You can look at, things like board development, and that's where you will see all of our archive trainings that are on our website to be purchased there. We'll also just point out a couple more things. The resources tab is where you'll find most of the free resources that we have to offer. Our new healthcare plan that ABN members have the option to be a part of, COVID-19 resources, our cultural competency resources. GrantStation is a really powerful tool that a lot of members take advantage of. The biggest mistake folks make with GrantStation is going directly to grantstation.com and trying to log in from there. You have to have a sub account with ABN, with the nonprofit that you're associated with, and that's how you'll log in to GrantStation. One of the things I'll point out about GrantStation, folks think that it's mainly, and it is mainly, a grants and foundation directory where you can search what grants are currently out there. But I'll also point out just a great self-learning tool within GrantStation where you can go in and actually step by step, each one of these tabs will take you to a tutorial of figuring out how do I even start with writing a grant, a letter of inquiry, etc. One of my favorite parts of GrantStation is this samples of award-winning grant proposals. So I always tell folks to go and look at, find an organization that's similar to yours and, look at their grant proposals, see how they did it. Anyway, that's GrantStation. Back to other resources. You can always post any openings that you have on your board on the boardroom. Similarly, the Career Center, if you do have any jobs that you need posted, either full-time, part-time, or internships, you can go in your Career Center there and post those for free for members. And then our resource library, when folks call us and ask for specific things, like templates, sample policies, procedures. This is where we have kind of compiled our most requested items that our members are looking for. So again, you have to be signed in to your sub account on your ABN account, and then you'll go through here and they're done by category. So you'll see board development, DEI, financial management, fundraising, the list goes on there. You'll also find in this resource library at least 15 pre-recorded free webinars that you can take advantage of. So that's the resource library. I do want to mention also that for all of our members, we have an organizational assessment that we do for all of you all for free or included in your membership. It's an online-based organizational assessment. Along with that assessment, we will have a 1-hour consultation where we'll go over what are your perceived strengths and weaknesses of your organization, and then help you kind of game plan next steps as far as where you might consider going. One more thing I'll mention, and then we'll move along. The member directory is a great tool on our website. It just shows what are the other members with ABN that are out there that you might be able to network. All of these links here will take you directly to those members' websites. And I'll just mention here, one of the things I love to do are make those connections between our members. So if you're ever interested in connecting with another ABN member and think it might be helpful for me to help facilitate that connection, I would be happy to do that. So that's just a brief, quick tour of the ABN website. If you ever would like to kind of have a personalized tour, or I would also be happy to help you run a few searches on GrantStation to help you figure out how to use that. Feel free to reach out at any time, and I would love to help you with that. That's all for our website tour. I'm going to pass it on to Jerry.
Well, welcome back. We are aware that we had some technical difficulties on Chase's presentation and you weren't able to see the ABN screen very clearly. So please feel free to take Chase up on his offer. Reach out to Chase and he can help you navigate our website, and would be happy to do so. Also, I want to I'm a baby boomer. I was part of the love generation, and there's a lot of love being spread on our chat. I hope you'll go back and read some of the nice comments that many of you have made about some of our presenters and your experiences with them. So please don't miss those nice comments on chat. Now we're going to hear from 3 more of our presenters. Our first is Allevia Technology, a team of IT experts who manage and maintain your network and IT investments. They know what works, what doesn't, and what recommendations will best help your organization run smoothly, efficiently, and consistently. Second is Social Solutions International, Incorporated. Founded in 2005, Social Solutions is a woman-owned, full-service consulting firm dedicated to improving the health and well-being of underserved populations in the United States and abroad. Guided by a commitment to diversity, social responsibility, and quality, the Social Solutions staff applies high-quality and culturally competent approaches to develop tailored solutions for their clients' needs. And last, but certainly not least, is Virtuous, a responsive nonprofit customer relations management and marketing automation platform helping build better donor relationships. Their responsive fundraising tools put the donor at the center of fundraising and helps you build trust and loyalty through personalized engagement. Virtuous provides CRM, marketing automation, and online giving software that helps you treat all donors like major donors.
A lot of people, what's the first thing they do in the morning? They check their phones, right? With businesses, it's the same way. You come in, you get a cup of coffee, and then you go fire up your computer.
Everybody's experienced their internet going down at home. It's an annoyance, but for us, if our internet goes down, it is a major problem. We can't sell tickets, concessions. A lot of shows have internet-driven lights and sound.
If you don't have, good connectivity, how much does that cost you when you're down? And if you do those calculations, it makes sense to work with somebody who can help with those issues.
We were always running into problems with hard drives crashing. We were spinning our wheels a lot of time. And the technology moves so quickly, it's very difficult to stay ahead of it.
Our server exploded in essence, and we were supposed to be getting backups, and our previous company had assured us that we had backups, and we didn't. What Stefan did for us was come in and really identified who we were, how we needed to function, and how that was going to work.
If you're a business owner, it's hard to free yourself up to go think strategically about technology in your business. Every phone call, every ticket that we get is a customer saying, hey, there's something prohibiting me from getting my work done. And so we come in and take that responsibility off of their shoulders and become their IT department. We don't just do the bits and bytes and the ones and zeros. It's all about how can we help them maintain their uptime and get more work done and be more efficient. The way that we go about that is not just impersonal emails and reports. It's us sitting down with you, not only give you peace of mind about security and backup, but then also moving you forward in terms of technology. We've gotten comments back from people like, I'm only supposed to work 4 days a week, but I've been working 5 days a week because I've been spending so much time on the tech support side. We give people their jobs back because we're able to actually get the IT stuff and get a handle on it and get it done for them.
When you do have the kind of information that we have, when you're taking people's credit cards and things like that, you don't want to be ignorant as far as safety and what it takes to actually be secure. Allevia's been great helping us kind of hold our hand and leading us through that.
Any kind of emergencies that might happen, they can respond quickly and get us back in business pretty quickly.
I don't need to be worrying about an IT problem. Allevia is my IT partner. They are as integral a part of the team as any of those other vendors that we use to keep our business running smoothly.
When Stefan came in, he looked me in the eyeballs and said, I've got your backups. We get here at 7:30 in the morning, and if something's not working, they remote in, and by the time we're seeing patients, it's working.
The technology is going to come and go, and in 10 years, it's all going to be different anyway. But what I want to remain is that relationship, to give clients peace of mind. When they think about their technology, that's the mission, that's the goal.
Hey, I'm Luke Wood with Allevia Technology. We are super excited to be here at this Tech Expo. Big shout out, big thanks to the ABN staff for putting this on. This is a really cool event. It gives people like us a chance to meet people like you, and we love to interact and meet new people, especially in the community. We're really excited to be here. We're really excited to get a chance to tell you all a little bit about what we do and how we can serve you. So at Allevia Technology, we are an IT provider. We're based out of Maryville, Tennessee. And one of the big things in our culture, one of the big things that we have designed this company around is serving other people, giving back to our community, and giving in any way that we can. And so one of the ways that we do that is we absolutely love to serve nonprofits as your IT partner. Now, if you're like other companies that I meet with, there's probably one person at your office who runs around all the time, Googling how to fix things, rebooting routers, trying to figure out what's going on with this computer that's broken or why this printer won't print. And I bet you that person's job description doesn't say anything about IT. So one of the things that we do here at Allevia is we shoot for giving you your time back. We want to be your partner when it comes to IT. We want to come alongside you, learn how you work, learn the tools that you use, and learn if there's ways that we can help you use those tools more efficiently, use those tools in a cheaper manner, and figure out how we can help you run your business more efficiently. We also do all the nitty-gritty things as well. We handle your backups. We handle all your troubleshooting. We fix that darn printer that won't print. We help you when your internet's down. We help you with anything that you need, and even strategic things like who do we pay for email and who do we pay for internet? Who hosts our website? Are we paying too much? Are we using the right tools? These are the kind of things that we want to help you answer. We do this because we are passionate about the potential of others. We know that you guys are giving everything you have to give back to the community, and we want to help equip you to do that as best as you possibly can. And so all of this starts with just one conversation with me. I would love to get to know you. I would love to get to know how you guys work. Talking's always free, and we love to meet new people. So if you would love to meet with me and talk with us and maybe figure out how Allevia Technology can help you, then please reach out. Shoot me an email. Give us a call. Any way that you want to get a hold of us, we would love to set something up and get to know you and your business. Now, thank you again to ABN for letting us come alongside you and help in this amazing event. And check out this amazing video from United Way of Blount County, one of our favorite clients who are near and dear to our heart. Thank you so much. I hope to talk to you soon.
My name is Jennifer Wackerhagen. I'm the president and CEO here at United Way of Blount County. United Way is one of the best ways to help the most people. We support programs and agencies here in Blount County that help the most vulnerable. We help those agencies and those programs through work that they do in health, education, and self-sufficiency. As I started working at United Way and seeing that United Way was community. A lot of it is built upon relationships, and that's really important to us here at United Way, is that we build those relationships across the community. As a small staff, I found out that we do a little bit of everything here.
My name is Alyssa Eichner, and I am the Finance and Administration Manager here at United Way of Blount County. I was kind of like the designated IT expert here on staff. There are some things that are just outside of the realm of things that I can easily troubleshoot. And so if there was an issue that was too much for me to handle, you know, it was a struggle to, do I keep working at this? Do I keep taking time away from the work that I need to be doing to handle this? We know that our time is really valuable too. So having an IT partner that gets in right away and gets the job done when we ask them to, it saves us time, which saves us money. When it came time for us to look into new vendors, I kind of took the lead on getting information from different vendors and building that relationship with Allevia.
We were seeing Allevia at a lot of networking events, chamber events, and so that's kind of how we got to know them. So when we were looking for IT help, they were the first people that we thought of because of just we saw their involvement in the community. Computers and technology helps us do our job. I have seen how much it's evolved just, today. I mean, we do a lot of emailing and virtual connections, in our community as well. So without their support, we wouldn't be able to do that. Allevia is a part of our team too, and just in that aspect of IT support and that technology needs that we have to be able to continue to serve our community in the way that we can serve our community efficiently and effectively.
I would say that anybody looking for an IT partner that doesn't feel like a burden, that feels like part of the team, that's one of the things I love about Allevia. When they come in, they say, treat us like we work for you. We are your colleague, and I do. And so I think that any other company that's looking for an IT partner that wants that same kind of relationship, doesn't want to feel so disconnected from their IT partner, they can definitely find that with Allevia.
Hello, Nonprofit Tech Expo attendees. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about Apricot software by Social Solutions. Apricot is a purpose-built solution for nonprofits and government agencies who are serving people in their communities. Within Apricot, it's very flexible in the way that it can be set up with sites and programs. So this can allow multiple nonprofits to collaborate in one instance of the software, or it can allow multi-site organizations or multi-program organizations to use the software as well. Within the homepage here, you're greeted with everything you know to get your day started. So what are important deadlines? What kind of new intakes have come in from our web to have people apply online to receive services? What kind of activities do I need to follow up on for the day? Like maybe some pending referrals that are sitting out there, and I need to make sure that my client went and received those services. It also can give me that big picture too. So how are we progressing towards outcomes like increasing people's health score, getting people healthy in the activities that we're providing? And we also have great self-service tools that allow individuals to take surveys and assessments on their own. So you can send those via text and email. And we also have a portal that clients can log into as well to update us on things that are going on with them. On the side of the software over here, you'll see a bunch of different record types. So you can, of course, track the people that you're serving within the software, but you can also track things like your partner organizations or volunteers or donors, or even the grants that you're applying for to help fund the programs that you're delivering to individuals. For self-service tools, we have the ability to produce web forms where people can apply online to receive services from your organization or volunteer with you. We also have a self-service portal where participants can log in and fill in additional forms for themselves or upload data and even update their own demographic information through the portal as well. So it's a great way to collaborate with your clients. Also, you can create logins to the portal for volunteers to be able to enter their own timesheets. Within the solution, when you click on any of these record types on the left side, it brings you to a list of all of the records you have access to. And you'll see here I've started to search for anyone that has a name that starts like Jill and was brought into our program this year, and you'll see it filters down to a short list here. And then I can click on any of those records to look at the full profile of that person. Within our solution, you can choose what types of fields you're tracking and if those fields are required, or even if you're duplicate checking on them, which is this little orange apricot symbol here. So you can track all of the demographic information that you need to for all of your grants and all of your reporting. Our address area is even connected to Google Maps. So when you type in a little bit of a street address, it pulls up any matches for you and plots that address on a map. You can also pull big aggregate level heat and location maps for all of the people that you're serving as well. Also within our mapping capability is census data. So you can look at the community view of the people that you're serving and the areas that you're serving, and as well as there's a resource layer in there for referral management. Within our software, every type of record has a profile, that basic demographics, and then everything else that you're recording about them goes into a folder. You can also set up real easy workflows in the software that walk staff through processes like intake. You'll see this walks me through several tasks so that I'm not all over the software trying to figure out where the next task is. It just walks me through these in a sequential order. So here I'm enrolling this person into a program and assigning them to myself. And when I click Save and Next, it's going to take me to the next step of that workflow, which is to provide an assessment to determine the needs and how we can help this individual. This is an Arizona Self-Sufficiency Matrix, which is one of the assessments in our template library. So we have an extensive template library of pre-built forms that you can choose to use, or we can also implement forms that you're using on paper right into the solution. And we have really easy configuration. So you're even able to create your own forms and reports within Apricot too. You'll see here as I'm filling in the questions of this assessment, I have my form logic rules firing here in the form logic rule box. So within the software, you can hide, show, require questions. But also here, I'm aggregating data through the scores that I'm tracking in the software to be able to place this person into a level of need, determine eligibility, and also for the software to display back to me goals that I need to create for this individual. So you'll see my total score area and my needs action box there as well. So all of the institutional knowledge of your staff can be built right into the software so that when new staff come in, they have that leg up of knowing what all of the seasoned staff there know, and they can move quickly to the next step of a process. The central repository for individuals in the software is that folder I was talking about before. And the doc folder is where all of your different forms are kept that you're recording about that record types. We also have calendar integration within the solution where you can integrate your Outlook or Gmail or other calendars. You can also integrate your web conferencing services as well. And so when I go to make an appointment for this individual, it will send out the calendar invite to the participant, to the staff members that have been included. And you can also include your video conferencing information just by clicking the box that says include video conferencing info. This will go out to your video conferencing provider, generate the meeting link, and stick it in that invite as it sends it. This really helps staff to focus on delivering services and not managing a bunch of applications. Apricot also has an amazing attendance feature where you can set up classes that have terms and term dates and locations and specify things like days off and term completion criteria. Within the attendance area, taking attendance is super simple. You can mark everybody present at the same time and then just mark whoever is absent. You can also input notes within here for everyone or individually for a participant as well. The power of Apricot is really in its ease of use and ease of administration. Your staff will be able to manage the solution by creating new forms within the software or creating new reports very easily. Within the solution, if I want to create a new report, I just click in there, create a new report, put it where I want to put it, give it a name, and I can start to drag and drop the data points right into the middle of the screen to create my report. So I can easily create a list report of individuals that I might be serving, or say I want to look at program enrollment information over time. I can easily drag in program enrollment information as well and easily aggregate that too. So if I want to look at the months of enrollment for my participants, I can easily go in there and change this and aggregate and transform that data so that I can see month over month what our attendance numbers look like. And then I can easily set a picture for that section of my report as well by asking it to add a graph. And maybe I want to change the graph type to line as well. So that's just one more click there. So easy report configuration is a great value of Apricot software. With our C360 solution, you'll also have the ability to use our web intelligence report writer to create very comprehensive reports that also can be run and emailed on a frequency. So what are those metrics that you or your team need to keep a pulse on? Those database or those dashboards can be sent to your email daily, weekly, monthly, so that you're on top of those different things that you'd like to keep track of. This report writer is also great for individual level reports to look at a comprehensive view of someone who's been receiving services and what their progress looks like over time across different goals that you might be setting for them. And also as a team, your staff can sit down and look at, across all of the people we're serving, what is our average outcome across the areas that we're tracking as well. At what instance of contact are we really moving forward quickly with our participants, and where do we see regression? Thank you so much for taking the time to look at this demonstration of Apricot 360. We look forward to talking with you some more.
Hello, everyone. Thank you to the Alliance for Better Nonprofits for having us today. We hope that everyone's having a great time at the Tech Expo today. Very excited to give you folks a sneak peek today into Virtuous and specifically what automation in action looks like on our platform. And once that's done, that'll take about 5 to 7 minutes. We're actually really excited to host an interactive conversation. So we'll be joined by Charlie Lewis, a nonprofit advisor with our team, as well as a current customer, Sam Lancaster, who's the marketing director at United Way of East Tennessee Highlands. And they're going to have a discussion, and it'll be open for everyone attending to be able to ask questions and contribute. And we really wanted to provide a space and a platform for you all to hear directly from someone who recently made the transition to Virtuous. And so it's free reign. You can ask any questions you'd like. We're really excited for you all to get just an authentic, transparent look into the ways that Virtuous is helping nonprofits grow generosity. So before we dive in, a little bit of background on us. We are a growth partner for nonprofit teams. You know, we're not just a software company. We are committed to a greater mission of growing generosity, not only for the nonprofit sector, but for the world. And our platform is purposefully designed to help your team create dynamic donor experiences and responsive fundraising campaigns that scale your impact. And our customers are seeing incredible results. Virtuous is helping nonprofits create connection, which is driving generosity and impact. On average, our customers see a 10% increase in average gift. They see 12% better donor retention, and they're seeing higher engagement. Another statistic that's not on here is that with the use of automation, which you'll see today, our customers actually get back on average 20% of their time. So that's more time for you to do what you love, which is building relationships with donors, with supporters, with stakeholders to fuel and grow your mission. And as I said, nonprofits all around the country trust and use Virtuous to help them grow generosity for their mission. So really excited to hand it over to a few other members on our team. And Scott is going to walk you through what Virtuous automation looks like in action. Scott, take it away.
We're going to look at 2 quick stories. But first, here's a little bit of the story of our hypothetical nonprofit. We want to help educate our constituents on national forest conservation. Our goal is to deliver value to our audience and identify prospective donors. We create an educational PDF and then use Virtuous forms to make the download available through our website. As a side note, we may run a test Facebook or Instagram ad to boost traffic and downloads. So first, we have Rosa. Rosa is new to our organization. She visits our website, fills out the form, and downloads the PDF. When the form is filled out, a few things happen. First, Rosa is automatically added to the database and tagged as web engaged and new non-donor. Then Virtuous ties Rosa's browser to her Virtuous record so we can see her future web behavior. She is also automatically subscribed to a 3-email series, which culminates in a gift ask. A few days later, we can see that Rosa has opened the first email and clicked on the 3rd email to visit our donation page specific to forest conservation. She hangs out on the donation page on her phone, but fails to donate. Virtuous can see that Rosa clicked on the donation link in the 3rd email, but didn't make a donation. So sends her an email the next day prompting her to complete the donation. Rosa responds and gives her first gift of $50. After her first gift, a few more things happen. First, Virtuous automatically imports the gift and matches it to Rosa's existing record. Then, Rosa is enrolled in a new donor welcome series specific to forest conservation. On day 1, Rosa receives a thank you email with a video from Jim from the program team out in a national park. On day 2, Rosa receives an SMS message with a link to a page describing the impact of her gift. On day 5, a member of the program team is prompted to call Rosa, thank her, and answer questions about the work. No ask. On day 10, Rosa automatically receives a postcard in the mail with a thank you message and a picture of the forest, with no work from the team. On day 22, Rosa receives an email asking if she'd become a member of the Forest Fan Club. Rosa opens the email and clicks through to the donate page for the Forest Fan Club. Because Rosa gave a first gift of $50, the giving array automatically adjusts to Rosa's probable giving level and asks for a recurring donation. Rosa responds again and upgrades to a recurring gift. 2 months later, we decide to do a peer-to-peer fundraising hike. We want to identify social influencers in our community to lead P2P teams. The Virtuous Social Insights functionality has automatically pulled in all of Rosa's social profile information, and we can see she has over 1,000 Twitter followers, which gives her a high social score. We pull a query, including Rosa and 100 other people with known Twitter handles and high social scores to lead teams. We then design an automation workflow of emails, texts, and calls to activate our new potential team leads. Rosa responds to the request and agrees to recruit her own team for the hike. And this is where Jim comes in. Jim is invited to a hiking fundraiser by his good friend, Rosa. Jim attends the event and gives $100. A few things happen automatically in Virtuous after the event. First, Jim is enrolled in a series of thank you email follow-ups from the event. The second email in the series includes pictures from his actual hike. The third email asks Jim to participate in a survey about his experience. Part of the survey is designed to find out what Jim is passionate about. Rosa, Jim's friend, is emailed to remind her to call Jim personally and say thanks for attending. Jim's survey response indicates that he's interested in the cause because he's outdoorsy. He's not a true environmentalist, but he loves the national parks. Jim's response allows Virtuous to automatically add Jim to a persona group, outdoorsy, by tagging his record. As a result of the survey response, Virtuous automatically sends Jim a postcard that contains a link to download a trail map of the top national park trails. Jim downloads the trail map and in the form notes goes out of his way to thank the organization. Using wealth data, the organization identifies that Jim's giving capacity is larger than his $100 gift indicates. As a result, Jim is automatically added to a development director's major donor prospect list, and the development director is emailed a task to review Jim's account. The development director visits Jim's donor view, sees the event he attended, his gift, his survey response, and his email and web interactions. She also sees Jim's relationship with Rosa. The development director reaches out to schedule a coffee and creates a reminder to follow up with a handwritten note in 2 weeks. After the coffee, the development director dictates details about the lunch as a note in Virtuous, using the Virtuous mobile app. After careful cultivation, the development director is able to secure a major gift from Jim.
We're back. Hello, everyone. We are back, and it is my pleasure to introduce Charlie Lewis and Sam Lancaster. Sorry about that. We will answer some of your questions about how Virtuous can assist your organization specifically in what they've done together. So super excited about this conversation. Drop some Q&As in the chat, but I'm going to pass it over to Sam and Charlie.
Thanks, Elle. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for, first off, ABM for hosting just kind of the Tech Expo here. I know if you're in Knoxville, we're getting a massive storm right now. And so I imagine everybody hanging with in the midst of the craziness. I know that I am locally here in Knoxville, and then Sam is over in Johnson City area. And here at Virtuous, we just wanted to keep it super light. I know that you all been watching recorded videos and some of the ins and outs all morning. So we wanted to keep it a collaborative session and share a little bit more about Virtuous. And I wanted to bring on Sam, who is the marketing director for the United Way of East Tennessee Highlands, correct, Sam? And if you don't see Sam's big name in the background, that's cracking me up this morning. I love it. And yeah, we just wanted to have kind of a quick collaborative conversation and share a little bit more about who Virtuous is, how we serve a number of different organizations, not only in the East Tennessee region, but also globally. You heard Scott talk about in the video things like automation and multi-channel communications and personalization. That's really what the world of Virtuous is. And so, Sam, I'll kick us off. I know that one of the reasons we wanted to bring on someone like yourself, being a new Virtuous customer, is talking a little bit more. What was the first time that you had heard of Virtuous, and just the name and who we are as a company? I know that you all were using the technology before, making the transition to Virtuous as your marketing technology, your CRM, your online giving. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah. So we first came across Virtuous, and I know the ABN crew like this. We actually saw you guys at an ABN kind of webinar. I don't know if I could name which one off the top of my head that it was, but I'm sure it's in the tracking somewhere. But just to be able to kind of see it, we heard a base bit of it. And I'll throw some credit to Jerry, because I've usually been more of the digital kind of person. And he's over there, you still got to mail me stuff. You still got to, send me the few things. And I'm going, okay, we need to be able to go in multiple directions. We do need to build that donor of the future, essentially. But we don't want to abandon what we've been doing at the same time. And that was one of the pieces we felt like Virtuous gave us. You and I connected a little bit later on. We figured out, the automation pieces of it, which I love, because I've not necessarily spent my whole career in nonprofit. So I've seen the automation before. I've used it in that way to try and be personal with literally thousands of people. So trying to keep that personalization going was very big for us, and being able to do it automatically was even better. The less time you have to spend on it, the better. I always go back to just write everything as if you're writing it to a friend. And that's how we're going to try and use Virtuous, as if we're, writing it to somebody that we do know consistently, whether we've known Jerry for 40 years or whether it's somebody closer to my age that is, maybe on the young side of the donations, of being in that philanthropy world. So just trying to stay personal with everybody, but keeping it automated. It's a weird mix to try to figure out. And that was something that you guys made possible for us.
Yeah. Come on. I love that. Well, as Sam mentioned, so I just joined the Virtuous team probably under a year ago. I'm here in Knoxville, and the organization is based out of Phoenix, but jumped into an ABM webinar earlier in the year, and we invited a bunch of different folks in, and just kind of a collaborative conversation. If you go to virtuous.org and click on the resources tab, there's so many different like ebooks and conversations that we're all jumping into and hosting all throughout the time, that is super edifying for development staff and leaders and marketing teams. But Sam, I think you mentioned one of the things that really stuck out to me, and side note as well, if you all have questions, don't hesitate, drop them in the chat. Me and Sam just wanted to have kind of a quick conversation here surrounding things, but we would love to answer any questions that you all have. But Sam, one of the things I know that we talked about very early on was this concept of, and I'm sure everybody's probably familiar with it here, just the overall generosity crisis. We've seen over the past decade in the world of nonprofits a drop off of the number of donors nonprofits have, but a rise in funding. And that's because the big focus is, hey, we don't have enough time in the day to give everybody the major donor experience. And so we're going to focus all of our time, the 80-20 rule, all of our time and energy and effort, giving our major donors, those who have financial capacity, to giving them the white glove experience. And here at Virtuous, again, one of the ways that we push back against that is through this concept called responsive fundraising. How do we use all of our technology and data and listening and connecting? How do we use technology and tools to give everybody the major donor experience, give everybody the white glove experience? And Sam talked about it a little bit. How do we use a technology tool to do some of the heavy lifting of fundraising for our team? And Brian even mentioned it in the video, so that you all can spend more time doing the things that you love to do, whether that's being with people, creating, copying content, working on programs, right? All of the things that are inherently the world of nonprofits. And so, Sam, I'm curious about, what were some of the things that you all were facing when it comes to technology before, coming into contact with Virtuous? I think you all were using separate tools, for several different kind of functions. And then I think some of the hope was in the world of Virtuous, maybe pushing some of those things together so that, you could be able to do more without having to do more.
Right. Yeah. So we had a CRM system, which in my opinion was fairly dated. We had an email system that it works, but it doesn't necessarily have great campaigns inside of it. Y'all probably use it for a lot. I know a lot of nonprofits use Constant Contact. So that's what we were using, was Constant Contact. We had QuickBooks, which we were using on the financial side, which they're smart enough not to let me into that, which is very smart on their part. But, we're using all three of those. We've all got our emails individually, and really nothing talked to each other. And so being able to bring in the donor profiles, mixing it with the email system, building in that automation, and then having a quick and easy way to get it over the financial side was definitely attractive to us. Wanted to keep those conversations open with those larger donors that we could sit down with, and they have the capacity to make a very large gift. But two, wanted to go ahead and start opening more discussions at the younger end of things, and even that mid-level end, depending on where they're at in their career, really, to say, okay, you've moved around on our site a good bit. You've showed some interest in maybe planned giving, or what we call our de Tocqueville Club, so which is a 10,000 gift and above. So once we see that you've kind of started showing some interest in those different areas, we can look at your profile immediately and say, okay, you've been at the 3,000 to 4,000 level. You might be looking to move to a 10. Maybe you're, at a one-time gift of a 50, and we're trying to move you up to more of a recurring. So just trying to understand that consumer behavior and seeing where that next step for you is. And if we can see that you're already kind of taking the initiative yourself to look at what that next step for you to be is, it only makes sense for us to more or less have like an automated email that opens up the conversation to get you up onto that next step. So, in the video, it even showed there, you see all the different things that were going on, you see all the connections, and you can take the opportunity to, to send a message and say, hey, here's a personal message about what's happening, who how we can move on. So I'm even looking kind of actually into our piece of it, to how can we even automate that piece? And it sends out an email, for myself or our development side that says, hey, not sure if you're interested or not, but if you're open to a conversation, would love to talk to you more about our planned giving, how, that can impact the community, and maybe what your plans going forward are. And like most of you all, you've probably sent that email or something similar plenty of times, no response, whatever. So, but you'll get those responses where you can then kind of come back to a large gift, or at least furthering the conversation. And so I think building that automated piece into it as well takes out the time of having to go through and figure out what everybody's donor path is and decide and vet them yourself. You can open up that conversation and let people talk back if they want to respond.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I think one of the things is I have been really digging into the East Tennessee community over here, talking with Johnson University and Emerald Youth and Thrive and Central Hispana, all of these other local organizations. I think the things that are consistent that I'm seeing is, hey, we're all using these single source solutions, Sam, just like what you talked about, right? I've got my database and I've got a MailChimp or a Constant Contact, and I'm using, this maybe for signals on who's looking at my website, and I've got an online giving application, all of those things. And when we have things that are separated like that, right, it doesn't give us the ability to personalize our communications. It doesn't give us the ability to personalize, it's more or less going back to the old school way, which is now I have to go to each individual platform, run a report, and then send that report over to this person or that person who manages a function. Where, if everyone minds me sharing my screen, I'll show you. So here at Virtuous, right, we want to be a little bit more of that kind of 5-in-1 platform. So whether you're using the Blackbot or the Salesforce or the Kindful or the Bloomerang or the Donor Perfects of the world, right? Whether you're using a MailChimp or a Constant Contact, I don't know if you're using donor signals. This is website data, wealth data, social data, online giving experiences that Scott showed, providing some of those different, personalized kind of generosity experiences. And then, automation, tying all of these things together and doing some of the heavy lifting fundraising for your team. And it's walking out this concept of responsive fundraising. How do we treat all of our donors like major donors? How do we have a platform that does some of the heavy lifting of fundraising for you? And so, Sam, I love what you were talking about. When we're looking at, and I'm just scrolling through the Virtuous platform here, we've got Joshua and Cheryl Bennett, and we're looking at things like their giving history and their website engagement and notes and tasks and social insights, right? It's that first responsive principle of listening well. Who is this donor? What are their superpowers? What are their areas of interest? We're looking at things like tags and wealth data, relationship tracking, geolocation. And then over here in the world of automation, we can start to do some of the heavy lifting of fundraising here in platform and technology that your teams probably are doing more maybe manual or in just other platforms, right? Whether it's a donor lifecycle journey that's walking a non-donor to a first-time donor, to a sustaining donor, to a major donor. Donor retention is a huge thing that we have seen. If there's I can send this link here in the chat, but this is the M&R study. It found that about 25% of new online donors were retained. That number is incredibly low for most nonprofits. How do we put in place things like donor retention models in order to be able to retain some of those donors? And again, implement some of those areas. And so if you're interested in learning more kind of about things, I know that our team would be able to, love to have a conversation. Sam, I'm curious. So you all had gone through the process and been able to look at Virtuous, doing some of the cost comparisons between whether it's a United Way platform or other tools and technologies out there, and then made the decision to go with Virtuous. What are some of the hopes and goals, over the next 6 months as you all implement a platform like this? What are the things that your team is really excited and even starting to kind of gear up right now as you're, working through implementation and onboarding?
Yeah. So hopes and goals is one, just to be more personal with everybody. As United Way, obviously we are that nationwide, worldwide brand, which a lot of people just see it as that worldwide brand. So we want to be, in the community and as local as possible. And obviously, everybody being, remote for the past however long we've been doing this now, has made that more difficult because we're not having those local functions. We're not having all that. And even when we couldn't have been at all of them, or we wouldn't have gotten any work done at the same time. So that's definitely one of the hopes and dreams of it, is to be as personal as possible with as many people as possible. Another one of our hopes is to start to stair step those people up. I know that, I don't know if you mentioned it or if it was in the video, but if somebody comes in with a $50 gift, you can turn around and kind of lead them down a path of, education, storytelling, and then throw in another ask of saying, hey, you donated 50 last month. Would you be interested in moving that up to a monthly 50? Here's how it affects. And so you get the chance to educate them, to tell them a couple of stories, and then ask them to continue, that donation. So you turn that one-time $50 into, I want to say off the top of my head, that's like $600 for the year. And hopefully you loop them back in the next year. And then when it comes back to the next year, that they were at 50. And so the system kind of automatically notices they were at 50 last year. And that's kind of the starting point. So somebody may say, I was at 50 last year. I've gotten a new job. I've gotten, I connect more because I've been getting that constant communication from them. And maybe they move up to 60. And while for many of us that feels like a $10 change, we know it's about $120 change on the year. So being able to move people up that proverbial ladder in that way is going to be helpful as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Didi, I know that you had a question over here, and I want to be respectful of the ABN time, and so I'll shoot you a quick message here, and we can be able to find a chat. Just dropped in my email there in the chat. Any other questions or anything else, do not hesitate to reach out with my email. I know the ABN staff also has all of Virtuous's information. We'd love to find a time to set up and connect and chat more about, hey, how can we be able to use and consolidate some of these single source solutions and provide a platform to walk out just what the modern donor needs, which is responsive fundraising. It's how do we treat all of our donors like major donors? And so, Sam, thanks so much for jumping on. Want to be respectful of our time here. Yeah, I love the quarantine beard as well. Sam's killing it over there. But thanks so much, ABN, for letting Virtuous be a part of this event. We'll turn it back over to you all. Yeah.
I'm just trying to match up to Luke.
You got a while. You got a ways to go. Charlie and Sam, thank y'all so much. We're so grateful for Virtuous and you, Charlie. Just wanted to say once again, thank you all so much for being here with us today. You're why we're here, and we thank you for your tireless efforts to make Tennessee a better place to be. We hope we can continue to work with you in the coming years. And for those of you who are with us this morning who are not ABN members, I will say this is a great time to join ABN because we're on a calendar year. Your membership would be prorated. So actually, if you join this month, it would be a third of the cost. I'm sorry, 2/3 of the cost. You get a third off of what your membership normally would be. I will be dropping just a small PDF file in the chat that you can download that goes over the actual ABN membership benefits for you to review and pass along to the board and staff if you'd like to do that. Feel free to reach out to me if you do have any questions about membership. I'm always willing and able to meet with you all individually to talk more about what questions you might have. And now, because we think the most valuable part of ABN membership is learning from each other, we have an optional segment after Jerry closes us out today to network and share some of your favorite software tools with each other. So if you have time, please stay and hang out with us for a bit. Now I'm going to toss it back to Jerry.
We hope you've enjoyed ABN's 2021 Nonprofit Tech Expo today. We're now dropping a link into the chat with our online evaluation tool, and we hope you'll complete the survey before you leave. Your feedback really is appreciated, and I promise we use it to help design our future programming to best fit your needs. Allow me to thank our presenters once again for today's expo. Our platinum presenter, iostudio. Our gold presenter, Virtuous. Our silver presenters, Abacus Hive, Allevia Technology, Social Solutions, and ThankView. And our bronze presenters, Rustic Roots Creative and Sprintbase. These companies share the same mission that we do, to support and empower the communities we serve, and we are really grateful for their presence today. Thanks again to each of you for joining us, and more importantly, thank you for all you do to make our world a better place to live, work, and play. Have a great afternoon, and as Chase mentioned, please stay and join us if you can share your favorite tools and software and network with the group. Have a great one.